Hey Mo, welcome to the podcast.
Hello, thank you. Happy to be here.
Yeah, we were chatting before a bit when we in the pre-room a bit about what you're up to. You're in London at the moment, and or Bucharest, excuse me.
Yes, right now I'm in Bucharest right now.
Yeah, yeah, and you're based in London
I'm based
typically,
in
and
Liverpool.
Liverpool. Excuse me,
Yes,
my fault.
it's all good. I do travel a lot to London, to be fair. But yes, now based in Liverpool and travel back to London and a lot of places, to be fair, thanks to work. But yeah, I could say I'm everywhere but my house.
Wait, and do you like that lifestyle? Do you enjoy the travel, or is it a bit tough on other areas of life?
I would say that in some areas of life it gets a little bit difficult, especially when it comes to like having a relationship or like necessarily like just staying in one place at a time. But the nature of my work just takes me to what it is, and like I'm happy to have that opportunity. I don't think everyone right now can afford to like just go everywhere or go for work or etc. like that, and especially in this generation. So I take it with both. It's good because I love it, and at the same time, it has its drawbacks, like everything. But I'm very happy on the position I am.
Nice. And Liverpool, how do you like the city? Is it a place where you feel at home, or
I mean, after 10 years living there, yes, but unfortunately, the city has gone a little bit. It hasn't grown enough in the last couple of years, so because of the same amount of work, it pushed me outside of the city. So Um, at the minute, Liverpool is a lovely city. You can go and visit it. I mean, a weekend, 5 day stops, you will have fun. I would say people are very friendly, very welcoming, and the city and the docks is beautiful in general. However, like if you are in the creator economy or if you are like tech hub or things like into it, it might be very difficult to make it your place, your home, due to like it's not very focused on that sector. That wouldn't be a city that is based on these areas. But other than that, it's beautiful. Like honestly,
lovely? And how do you like the travel to London? You mentioned you go there quite frequently.
it's train 2 hours every way. It's easy. It's fairly easy. 2 hours straight. You just ended up in London, Euston, and from them you go. Sometimes I just go and travel in the same day. That's what I prefer, unless I have too many meetings or too many people to actually meet. I might schedule 2 days, 3 days. It all depends also in work as well.
Brilliant. And if you don't mind, Mo, hopefully this is all correct, but I'd love to do a bit of an introduction before we get into the show.
Yeah.
Perfect. So, for those of you that don't know, I met Mo via LinkedIn, and Mo Valor or Moises Valor is an active on LinkedIn with many posts and a strong following, over 600,000, or excuse me, 6,000 plus followers. His LinkedIn username slash handle appears to be Moises Valor. He frequently posts about football, soccer content, trends, and stories, often tied to his work. He is the COO, partnerships and finances of Footcrunch, a global football media company. Footcrunch is known for producing content around the world and sports culture. Career and background: Mo Valor has a personal journey from Venezuela to becoming the Chief Operating Officer, COO of Footcrunch, growing the brand significantly on platforms like YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. He has experience in business operations, partnerships, and managing media slash creative teams. He also founded his own consulting company, One Operations Group, focusing on helping creators with business structures. His LinkedIn features posts on football trends, operation insights, and professional reflections. You can view his full LinkedIn profile, and there's a link. Hopefully, if I'll do my best to leave it in the description below. Let's see if I'm just missing anything on Gemini. I think I talked about most. Mo manages the day-to-day operations of Footcrunch, a channel that has become a staple in the digital football community, particularly known for its FIFA slash EA FC content and real-life football challenges. The partnership, he works closely with his brother Santiago Valor, the face of the channel, to scale the brand into a global platform. Operational role, while Santiago handles much of the on-screen talent work, Moises' oversees business strategy, team management, and the channel's expansion into the broader creative economy. Background and resilience. Moises has well documented, quote, immigrant success story, end quote, that he often shares to inspire other creators. From Venezuela to the UK, and we can get into this, he moved from Venezuela to the United Kingdom, initially facing significant language barriers and financial struggles. I need to grab some water, excuse me, that doesn't usually happen. As an international student, early hustle before his success in digital media. He worked in hospitality and bar service to support himself while navigating the challenges of a new culture. Growth. His story is frequently cited in the creator industry as an example of how to transition from traditional labor to high-level leadership within the, quote, creator economy, end quote. Note, because, quote, Valour, end quote, is a common business name, he is sometimes confused with Moises Agami, the CEO of Valour Capital, a real estate development firm in Florida. However, Moises Valor you are likely looking for is the digital media executive behind Footcrunch. I think that's. Excuse me if I got anything wrong there. I think that's. Is that okay, Mo? Or
Yeah, the only thing that you got wrong was Santiago. My brother's last name is Vasquez. We have different last names,
okay?
so that's the only thing.
Okay, brilliant. And apologies for any mistakes.
It's all good.
I think this is the fourth episode now. I must grab before I start some water and a bite to eat because I find myself later in the evenings maybe getting mixed up with some names. But all good. I'd love to know, Mo, if we go back to the start of your career or even beyond, maybe childhood, if you wouldn't mind sharing growing up and your story going to the UK.
Yeah, sure. Actually, I get a lot asked about this. So, I grew up in Puerto Ordaz, which is a city in Venezuela. I had an amazing childhood, obviously amazing within the limits of like the country itself, because we will have a lot of political instability at the time. However, I was very lucky to have the family that I have, etc., etc. And honestly, the reason why I went to the UK is to get better opportunities. So at the time, the country was on a state that it couldn't really afford any opportunities for a lot of our generation, and I'm between those 8 million people that left the country because of the same political turmoil that there was at the time and that there still is. So one day my mother comes into my room and pretty much said like, you are gonna study abroad. At the time I was really bad at speaking English. Like I used to hate it. I'm not really good at languages. I've never been. It's not my strong suit. But within approximately a year, I had to learn enough to get a place into an international school, which in this case was Kaplan, and I moved to Liverpool. The reason why I chose Liverpool, well, I didn't think too much at the time. My options were like Miami, Glasgow, Liverpool, and I also had the possibility of Spain. Spain I didn't like at the time, because I thought all of my friends and people close in my school, if they were going to immigrate, it was going to be Spain. And Spain faces a lot of challenges with this in terms of like providing opportunities for everyone. So we discarded it, especially after a family friend's advice to discard it. Then we had Miami. I said, oh, well, I don't want to get my parents into bankruptcy because a tuition fee alone on 1 year is like $50,000. And on top of that, Miami never saw it as a place that you will actually speak a lot of English because there's one of a lot of Spanish communities in there. So I wasn't gonna be pushed. So I had Glasgow and Liverpool. And then Glasgow, I said it was gonna be too cold. That's my thought. And then I moved to Liverpool, who is as cold as Glasgow, but I didn't know that at the time. So I ended up in Liverpool. That's how it started, and moved to the UK when I was about 18 years old, and then went to school and college. Finished my first year, and then went straight into university. I couldn't finish university though, but that's pretty much a sum up of like at least how I ended up in Liverpool.
Yeah, brilliant. Thanks, Mo. I'd love to know a bit more about university. You said, just to correct me if I'm wrong, correct, yeah, if I'm wrong there, did you say you didn't finish or?
Yes, I didn't finish university. Again, through the same problem with Venezuela. Um, Basically, suddenly, all my parents' assets were devalued, like to the point that they were facing even a loss on all their assets and all the bills that that they built over like the course of their career. Suddenly, it's not like evaporated; it's still there, but it considerably like declined its value to the point like not only my parents were facing a situation of a potential loss in many of their assets if they were to sell. On top of it, it wasn't even close to the market value of the properties and the assets. So, because of the same turmoil or the same problem in the country, everyone faced this situation. But the strategy of my parents was very simple. It was put money into properties. Hopefully, they will revalue, will resell, and then we'll use those funds to fund not only myself, but I have two other siblings. One of them being Santiago, and the other one being my little sister Nicole. So that was the plan. But suddenly, it just there was not even enough to pay my tuition fee or my brother's tuition, let alone my sister. Hence why we couldn't finish the university.
Wow, thank you for being so vulnerable, Mo, and sharing that. There must have been a lot of stress.
It was at the time. I mean, for I don't know for my brother, because we did experience this together. He's only 1 year younger than me. So um, when I came, I had my first year and it was amazing. I mean, I was being supported by my parents, and the only thing I needed to worry was to study, and I excelled. I even had like a little part-time job at some point just because I wanted to get extra money, but not because there was a need for me to get this. But the second year, um, which was when my brother came, he finished his college, and I finished my first year of university. This is when the situation started to get a little bit tense. The political problem, the political issues of the country arose even more between 2015 and 2017. It was like the biggest problems within the country, and there was a lot of protest. There was a lack of food, lack of medicine, lack of basically daily needs, and the economy went. We faced a hyperinflation, if I recall. Like we were getting price changes within the day. Like one day you will find something for $1, the next day could be $2, $3. Like no one could keep up with this inflation in the country, and which made it harder to sell assets and everything. And at the time, going up to my second year and being Santiago's first year, we couldn't. That was just all the reserve that my parents had. It was gone, so there was no more money to be sent to us. We faced the issue of staying or going back, and we both decided we wanted to stay. well, I decided I wanted to stay. um, and we had to go and face the world and start paying rent by ourselves. And I'm not saying like this is something abnormal. It was just the quickness to it. It wasn't like hopefully you get some sort of support from your parents at the beginning, and like all the support was suddenly you went from being helped completely by your parents to face your situation by yourself in that country that you are not really settling at the minute, in a blink of an eye. And that's how it felt. Obviously, suddenly, thankfully, I've always been very responsible, and but within those things, you're still like 19, 20 years old, so it's hard. It's hard. All of a sudden, you have to become a grown up, and you have to mature very quickly, and suddenly going to work in a language that you are not really familiar with yet, especially because of accents and slang, especially in Liverpool, is quite a difficult one. It's just sudden, but you push through it and you somehow make something out of it.
Yeah, wow, Mo, that seems like a very big challenge and a lot of overcoming a lot of obstacles.
It was. At the time, me and my brother had each other, and we chose an apartment. We moved in. We did everything. We had a lot of friends to support us. Don't get us wrong. We had a little friends here as well, but obviously having our parents so far away from us and not even being able to see them for a period of time. I think me and Santiago spent a solid three. I think I might have spent about 4 years, maybe 3 years without seeing my mother. And same with my father. I think my father was only two because when he came with my brother, so I saw my father before everything happened. So that's the difference. So they took turns. So first, when I came with my mother. When my brother came, he came with my father. So I at least I saw my father, and I think he visited once as well, like 6 months after. Um, but yeah, it was a very difficult situation. I think it had a lot of a toll on my parents because they felt us in a way, because obviously they sent us to a different country in the hopes of like us finishing our degrees, going to work, and like kind of the whole traditional mindset of like, hey, we'll support you where your parents will help you until you are in the university, you get a job, and then you moved and you start your own life. That didn't happen for us. It was like you are by yourself, and yes, of course, we had our parents that we could always call, but at the end, we have to face ourselves and go out and make the most out of ourselves.
Yeah, Mo, that seems like, first of all, I just want to acknowledge the amount of grit you've shown in getting to this point as a COO, Chief Operations Chief. For those of you that out there that are wondering that maybe have never heard of this term before, the COO role, which we'll get into, is Chief Operating Officer. And I just want to go back to that point, if you don't mind, Mo. That transition. How did you find what was your initial thought when you were going through that very tough moment and you realized you needed to find your own path?
To be honest with you, it was hard because my dream was always to graduate from university, and especially in England, like that was a dream that I had when I was a kid. I don't know. Don't ask me why I wanted England. It just most people would say like, "Well, will you move to this weather or whatever?" But for me, England always was like a call. I actually had the pleasure to visit Cambridge when I was 15, and I just fell in love with the country in general, and with the people, with the culture, with everything. And for me, and I can only speak about myself, I always wanted to study business, and I always wanted to make stuff happen, shit happen. Sorry, I shouldn't swear, but making stuff happen in a business place. And for me, that's always been the one thing, and I've always been obsessed of learning about businesses, about learning how to manage them, how to grow them, the culture that a leader needs to have to grow those businesses, why those businesses fail more than often. And at the time, listen, I didn't have any other option, but I was just working in hospitality, and I said, hey, make the most out of it. So because I wanted to learn, I even decided to become a bartender rather than a waiter, even though the waiter makes more money than the bartender. But the one that usually gets to management first is the bartender, because it handles more of the operation side of the building, and they are first to be considered to a position of management rather than a waiter. So my thought process was like, okay, I need to make the most out of this, and I want to be a manager. That was like my first objective. Based out of that, I needed to become a bartender. I wasn't even a waiter. I was like the assistant of the waiter. We call it runners. So like I said, I needed to become a bartender, then a supervisor, then either an assistant manager or a manager. So even though that there was no position whatsoever at the time, I just asked for the spec test as a bartender. So basically, I started taking extra shift to learn, and I basically asked for this, which is the recipe of all the cocktails, and I even took a test without being a bartender, just to prove that I wanted the position, and I was the only one that passed. Funnily enough, there was the other bartenders that didn't pass, and they already had the job, but I passed that test, and then suddenly I started also to ask my manager if he would let me go from the restaurant to the bar. And then, I got given the position as a bartender. I got trained for 2 weeks, and then at about 6 months into it, I was already decent enough for the level of service that they had. It was a night bar, and I think we used to make like more than £50,000 a night. And the way of serving was like, you have to take all the orders of everyone and then serve and then charge them. You need to memorize the prices. It was a fun experience, and within a year, I was already within the best bartenders in the place. The way they measure it is how much they trust you to give you the restaurant service. So we used to have like 7 bars in the place, but the most difficult one was either 2 downstairs that were called 5 or Point, or the service bar. Because on the service bar, you are in the shift the whole day, and you are in charge of all the restaurant beverage, all the restaurants. And we used to get like 500 people in the restaurant on Saturdays. So it was the most challenged one. And little by little, prove myself that I could be responsible. I got given the chief leader position, which was in charge of like making sure that everyone is clean, etc., etc. And then within a year and a half, I was given the supervisor position. And to make long story short, then I made management. But this is how it was my thought process. My thought process was backwards. It was like, what's the goal? And then what do I need to get there?
Yeah, that's a great takeaway. That what's the goal, and then what do you need to get there. I think fair play to you for getting to that point where you worked. It seems like very hard and got rewarded.
It was brutal. Those those Saturday night shifts were average 15 to 17. The 13 to 15 was the average on a Saturday, but the longest I ever did was 17. And Saturdays were like anywhere between 10 to 12. No, sorry, Fridays, yeah. And then back, I used to make like 30 hours a week just on the weekend. It was brutal, but yeah, it helped me to get resilience. That was one, and the second one helped me to accelerate into management. And when I got into management, little by little, I started to learn about hospitality business and getting the experience of how to run a business and what it should be done to run a business. And those were my foundations. I also had like amazing people that taught me. But yeah, that was my foundation.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And it'd be great to learn then about your transition into the role that you have now from that previous work experience.
Yeah, so after I was like active bar manager of the first place I've been into, um, I left because I was sick of the place. I couldn't stand it anymore. Um, so my previous boss was in this new bar, and I had to start over. So I had to start as a supervisor again until I got into bar manager. And during that bar manager, I also had a position for a general manager for a pop-up site that we had for about 8 weeks. So the thing is, my transition, I've always done more than the title I've been given. One, because I've always wanted to learn. Second, because I wanted the responsibility to show this. That alongside the fact that I never stop learning in a way of another. So I always like accountancy. I always like numbers. So I took courses for free in LinkedIn actually, about stock management, management control, management in general. I started to read a lot of books about management. I started to basically self teach me or self taught me a lot. And during this parallel time, Santiago, which I was living with him at the time, he wanted to have his own business. That's what he said. And he started with social media, and the first account was Instagram. But during this transition period, like let's call it transition period, he ended up in YouTube and making the millions of subscribers. And by the time I joined, I had experience enough in management for someone to overtake the management side that he needed me to take. So it kind of like worked together, the fact that I decided to put on hold having my own company, or decided to learn to then lead me to this. Does that make sense? So first I left that other place for two reasons. The first one, I saw Santiago basically making content and getting paid for it, and he went to the final of the Champions League, Liverpool and Madrid, the first one. And I had to work that with like 60 hours just to see the match that night because I requested it. So I saw like, hey, I'm doing something wrong here, because like Santiago, it's paying for himself this experience, and he's gonna get paid for it. And second of all, I worked 60 hours this week. This does not justify my salary at all. So I just said, I kind of woke up one day and said, I'm done. And within those, I was already speaking with Santiago about it. Like, if there's any possibility of, hey, join you, and let me know. And at the time, he was very clear. He said, like, hey, you probably need to take a pay cut because the only thing I can offer you is this. And I just took it once again, right? And my original title was financial director. I was in charge, firstly, of the accountants of the company, which I was very happy with. I always wanted to learn this side more than anything, and I was never given the opportunity to do so. But then, as the business grew, so did my position, because we started to needed someone to handle partnerships and brands, and at the time I didn't know, but I started managing agencies, and that was like my trial. I will manage the agency first to then go into the brands directly. Started managing agencies, then brands. On the time, then the legal part aspect of the business came in about that I also took care of. I started working more with lawyers to bulletproof us as a company in all senses. From the people that we hire, from the people that we don't hire, from how we interact with suppliers, etc., etc. And then during that same time, more stuff came my way that I took responsibility of, and ended up with the title of COO because that was the only title to justify my functions. And of course, perhaps it doesn't give you a lot of clarity, but the best way to look at it is I've always wanted to learn, and I've always wanted to execute on things, and my main attribute is to execute on things. So whenever the guys needed something, I will go and execute what it was needed. Hence the part of COO, Chief Operational Officer. When we needed an office, I got an office. When we needed a stadium, I got a stadium. Whenever we needed a brand or whenever we needed something, I will do by far the most that I could do to make sure it will happen. So that's kind of give you an idea.
Yeah, that definitely gives an idea, and I'd love to know when all this started happening and you were officially the COO of the company. How did you manage the stress of everything at once? Did you find it was easy, or did you find it drained or you were just a bit drained, or how did you?
Um, I would say that within the first year and a half, towards the 2 years, I'm gonna be 4 years in the company now, right? So the year two or year and a half, I was already, that was my title, COO, operations manager. And it was stressful, to say the least, because I didn't function just as a COO. I also function as a partnership manager, and I also function as the head of accountancy and the head of legal, or not necessarily the head of legal, but the one that executes legal stuff, and also the one that help to build our dubbing strategy as well and execute it. And at times it was stressful. There was days that I have no time. But it's very rewarding to see the company where it is and to be able to be into situations and conversations that I've never saw myself I would be involved in. Like, it's give me like all that energy back to myself. Just the fact that I'm here speaking to you because of the same work, it's a reflection of all the work that has been put into it, and I'm grateful for it, and things like this always get my energy back. Was it stressful? Yes. Did I want to murder someone in the process? Probably. Did I sweat a lot? Yes. Did I get stressed? Yes. Did I overreact a couple of times? Oh, yes. But it's all part of the process. I mean, the creator economy, it's a new economy, and there's a lot of things that hasn't been. It's not like it hasn't been discovered, because then you go into tech, you go into production for entertainment companies, and they all have it figured out. But there's industry that have been like 100 years established, right? Banks, things like that. So for us, it's kind of like trying to take those already established areas of the economy and see how they fit into what we're doing, right? And I think that was the most difficult part. Like, we face a lot of challenges of like recruiting, hiring someone, how to treat someone, how not to treat someone, what is HR okay and what is HR not okay, things like that we had to learn through by doing it, not because we were necessarily in a place that taught us how to, or taught me how to.
Yeah, that's definitely a. You mentioned a few things there, and it definitely seems as though it was a massive growth moment for you in your journey and career.
Yes, it was. I mean, I don't think I've ever learned as much as I've learned now, and I'm still looking to learn even more to get even better my skills in all aspects. I think I still got a lot to improve. But yeah, it's just been, apart from stressful, it's also been fun, because we get to record with people that we never thought we would record. Like, I mean, I took a picture with Lando Norris, once that I was in one of the events, and I was like, what am I doing? Or like a football legend like Jamie Carragher, or being in a premiere for a movie that is never in a screening. So like a premiere of the movie, I had no reason what to be there, but I was, right. So these are the things that definitely make it worth it, and it's very fun.
That's great. It seems as though the creator economy is just a super exciting place to be and a lot of fun.
Yes, I mean, you are part of it. You're making a podcast, right? So you see how it's allowing to be people new jobs, and the people that actually want to learn and want to, work hard and get a position. And I would say probably the creator economy is the most competitive one, but it's also the one that they will give you the more opportunities. Why do I say that? Because you don't have to wait too long to get your next promotion, or you don't have to wait too much to, um, you know, meet new people, or like network, or like even find new opportunities, right? Whereas traditional companies, it might take a little bit longer. I'm not saying this happened in all of them. Obviously, if you are in the right moment at the right time, you will still get opportunities. But I think in the creator economy just move faster.
Yeah, definitely. I love the speed of it and the growth. Do you have any figure? Well, we won't get into it, but I know from the, if I just look at it here, maybe uh, growth of the creator economy. It seems like a fascinating space, as we already talked about, and the speed of it. I think it says the creator economy refers to the global marketplace of independent content creators such as influencers, YouTube streamers, podcasters, newsletter writers, educators, and community builders who monetize their audience directly or via platforms. This includes ad revenue, brand deals, subscriptions, digital products, e-commerce, tips/gifts, and more. Rapid market growth, huge current market size and projections. It's estimated 150 to 255 billion plus, that's dollars globally, I presume USD,
Yes.
around 2024 to 2025. Varies by sources. a 20 to 25% year-over-year increase. Multiple industries forecasts estimate the creative economy expanding into trillions by the 2030s, 1.18 trillion by 2032. That is approximately around 24.6% CAGR, which, for those of you out there that maybe don't know what that means, it is the compound annual growth rate. Measure the mean annual growth rate of an investment or business metric over a specific period longer than 1 year, assuming the value compounded over that time. It, quote, smooths, end quote, returns, providing a steady state that ignores volatility to compare performance across different assets such as stocks, revenue against benchmarks. We'll get back to the show now. I just think it's a fascinating industry. It says 2+ trillion by 2035. I presume that's in USD dollars. Another forecast, 8x growth between 2025 and 2035. That's approximately 23% compound annual growth rate. This means the creator ecosystem is projected to grow many times larger than today's digital advertising and traditional media markets over the next decade. Yeah,
it will, hopefully. As long as YouTube keep being the one leading the charge, which they just, I think it was last year, they announced their 10-year plan or 20 years plan. And yes, it will be, that's the case. And you can see that there's a lot of movement into the entertainment industry and the creator economy trying to merge in the next couple of years. Not merge, but I still believe that Netflix will always be Netflix and YouTube will always be YouTube. However, there is more of the lack of, or the demand of, higher quality content in the YouTube platform. YouTube is by far the most streamed app in the world. It beats Netflix, it beats Disney Plus, Hulu, whoever you want to call it. However, we will see what happens. But if there's any indication of the market, is the more eyeballs here are in YouTube, the more it will grow, because promoters and advertisers will want to be there. Hence, the creators will enhance their earnings and everyone will benefit from it. But I would say that Netflix and the streaming platforms, I'm still looking at that and thinking how we can also get a slice of that pie, of that piece. So it will be very interesting to see what happens in the next, I would say, 3 years.
definitely. Yeah, the next 3 years is going to be super interesting, and it just mentions what's driving this growth, the platform scale and engagement, billions of global users on short form and long form platforms. We mentioned e.g. YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. Video content has become the backbone of the market with massive daily engagement. Diversified monetization. Creators no longer rely on ads only. New revenue streams include subscriptions and memberships, fan payments, digital products, courses, presets, and NFTs, brand sponsorships, social commerce, and direct sales. These diverse revenue options can help creators scale their business beyond a single channel. AI and creator tools. Adoption of AI and creator productivity tools is rapidly increasing, helping smaller creators produce and distribute content at scale. Shift to community-led models. Growth emphasize on creator-owned communities, e.g. subscription groups, forums, niche platforms, not just big social media followings. And yeah, I'd love to know, for you, Mo, where do you see, and maybe you can give the people out there that have never heard of Footcrunch just a bit of background with the business and what it does, and where you like to maybe, where do you think it's going in the future, and I'd just love to know.
Well, for everyone that does know, Footcrunch is, I would say, the biggest football channel in the world and out there. And our aim is to be the biggest football channel in history. And where do I see ourselves going? Well, I see ourselves producing more content. I see ourselves producing higher quality content and making the move needed to make sure that we have that specific content, whether with partners that we trust and we've built a relationship, or just trying to also become like an actual media production company. And what I mean by actually, it's by attempting to do things that other creators haven't done. And I'm not gonna get into much detail because I'm not allowed to. But yep. So, or we always want to try to break the rules in a sense, or try things that hasn't been done, or do better and bigger stuff. So I will give you an example. We were one of the first, or maybe the first, football creator to be given a stadium to record. I wouldn't say necessarily we were the first, because I don't know what happened 10 years ago, and I'm not gonna come here and say like we did. But I did notice a pattern that as soon as we did it, other creators started doing it as well. So we want to lead by example and always be the best and trying to be even better, by disrupting what it's already established. What else we would like to do? I will need to chat with Santiago what else he wants to do. But definitely we're growing and we're staying here for the long run, and the plan is to be here for the long run.
Yeah, that's fascinating. I think I've had this conversation today already. It's just the second one about thinking long term and not just the short term in business, and taking an approach that's maybe a bit further out, especially in the context of newer companies like Footcrunch. And yeah, I think that's very interesting. And I was even thinking about, not so long ago, with the House of Guinness coming out, I was thinking about how long they've been around since. I think, I know this is a bit off topic. That was in 1759, so it's been around quite a while. And with the creator economy being, relatively speaking, pretty new, it's I just think the thinking long term and sticking at something is probably very valuable.
I mean, you can always have your end goal and then work towards that. That doesn't mean that you necessarily want to shift a strategy, because the way you achieve that goal is not always necessarily by doing the same all the time. Sometimes you need to be able to adjust to those strategies and all those changes while still keeping your end goal, right? So, for instance, there has been a massive shift in the industry of short form content, right? And the team was able to see this, and what did we do? Well, we produce more short form content to stay not only relevant, but still getting and making sure that we produce new pieces of content, or at least that we try to be the best at doing that. So that's one way, and that doesn't mean that we're gonna stop doing the long form. We will always do our long form, but it's just adapting to the shift that sometimes are outside of your control. There are many creators that just stay doing the same all the time until they might fade over time if they are not able to adapt to new circumstances, right? And it's little. I mean, I think both things can correlate and be true at the same time. Not because you have a fixated goal, it means that your way to get to that goal is always gonna be the same. And as long as you have it at the top of your head, you can always work towards that, and unconsciously you will do it, because that's how the mind works. Don't ask me why, it's just crazy. Something as simple as putting a piece of paper with your goals and having them present and read it every once in a while, it just pushes you to do that unconsciously.
Love that. Yeah, really love that, Mo. The subconscious and having goals once in a while. We even look at maybe every week or every month or sometimes even daily. You look at goals and having a vision for the business and maybe your own career and life. And that's a great word of wisdom.
Yes, I mean,
Or words of wisdom, excuse me.
um, no worries. I mean, like, for instance, everyone might be different. There's a lot of people that might want to use Notion or like Google to-do list or etc. It doesn't really matter. The end product is still the same. It's as long as you go like, okay, I want this, so hence I need to do this, and you go and do it, you will you will be sure to do so. And it has always worked for me my whole life, and I think for really high performance people, I'm not saying everyone is and or everyone it needs to be. It just works. Even for people that can only have capacity to make, I don't know, three goals a year, just writing them down and checking periodically, like every 2 weeks, every once a month, to see how you are on that. That's fine. It will happen, and it might take longer than you wish for, but it will happen as long as you have that into your mind. And like to this day, like I'm the type of guy that literally use a black book and just writes everything that he wants to do. You can probably do it on Notion, you can probably do it on Asana, you can probably do it in like whatever, it doesn't matter. Like you can even build it into ChatGPT nowadays, but it's still the same. It's still of like something visual that you will make sure that it will get done, and you will.
Yeah. That's it. I really love that. And is there any piece of advice that you give to maybe Mo 5, 10 years ago that now you'd really now that you looking back in hindsight?
I think I I think it's not for me only, but for people in general. I think we should be more gentle with ourselves. Okay, I think like social media has allowed you and me to make a living, right? Or it might give you the opportunity to make a living and like work the way you want as well, which I think it's amazing. But at the same time, it has also given us this self, like this image that everything needs to be in a specific way, and we see like every now and then who are the most people that are usually trending people that has a lot of cards or like a luxurious life, and subconsciously you compare yourself to that, right? I think first just be gentle with yourself. You are already taking decisions every single day of your life, and even when you don't take a decision, that's you taking a decision, right? And be gentle, be okay, try to love yourself, and then everything else will come, as long as you know, hey, I'm okay, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this. And no matter what, do not quit what you want, because what you want, you go and get it. But be okay. It's a little bit difficult to say it. Like the part of loving yourself and be okay and gentle with yourself, it ties into your dreams, because sometimes years take time. They take time, and sometimes you don't see them coming through when you get frustrated and you start talking negative about yourself, and then you suddenly quit that. And I think that's very, very delicate, because sometimes you don't even realize how close you are of the thing that you want and that you are about to get it, but you just quit because you think you spent a lot of time on it and it didn't happen. And all the negative self-talk starts getting to it, because you said, I spent 6 months in here, nothing has happened, and I got this crazy guy that I'm following on Instagram, and suddenly he made $10 million in a month, and you are obviously feeding this story into your subconscious, and you are like, bro, am I so bad? And I think that's horrible. And I think that's what I will not only tell to my younger self, but I will tell to everyone.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Just, I know I already mentioned that word before, but that's just incredible pieces of just recommendations and that balance between going after your dreams in life, which two lads or two men coming on the podcast and talking about going after your dreams is just, I think it's great. And while also maintaining a balance, being gentle with yourself, trying to find that maybe not an on and off switch, but that balance is, I think, I don't know, I don't want to put words in your mouth, Mo, but
I
would you
mean,
think it's
it's maybe just don't let what you see in social media get to you, right? Don't make it don't make it a bar for you to compare to, okay? Because everyone's living very different lives, and even though experience might be similar, not everyone has their own everyone has their own experience the same. So yeah, maybe that guy had 10 million, right, and made it in a month, but you don't know all the bad stuff he went through before. I'm not saying this is all the case for everyone, because obviously we know that there's bad people out there making scams and being horrible to other people, but don't let like someone shining make yourself feel miserable, right? I think that's the main point. And you as a person will sacrifice stuff, but if you want that, and if you truly want something, the sacrifice that you make is the price that you're paying to get that, and it can come in any short form or shape that you can imagine. You don't even know. For me, it was working in hospitality for 60 hours and like in a foreign country, and like the even challenges of working with your family, right? Because sometimes you don't difference what is your brother to now your partner or your boss or whatever, and those are challenges on itself, right? And yeah, I just don't let that stuff get to you, because if it gets to you, like you're gonna be in a really bad place, and I've been in that place, and it's not nice. It's very difficult to get out of it as well.
Thanks for sharing that, Mo. And this conversation is giving me a tremendous amount of energy. I feel as though what you're saying really strikes a chord and resonates. We're just about on the 60-minute mark, an hour, so I don't want to take up too much more of your time. But is there anywhere? I know you're also a consultant, and you have that part of your career as well. Would you love to talk about that or mention it, or?
Yes, of course. So it's something I don't do full time. I'm trying to grow it a little bit as well, but I do it for a specific amount of people, and not all the time, as most of my time takes off Footcrunch. But basically, I was glad to have worked with the ex retention strategies for Mr. Beast, Mario Juice. I worked with him for over a year, helping him with the strategies of the business side of things. I've also consulted for Everbloom, which is one of, if not the best, capital raising fund company to basically give you capital if you needed to upscale or invest into your own business for any creators. And also help other people. Right now I'm actually giving like 30 minutes for free if they want to jump on a call, and I have other people reached out as well. Funnily enough, I've been asked many times to give career advices from people from LinkedIn, and I taken just the time and the place, because I also had that at some point. I also needed someone to help me, and if I can help someone to even have like 1% of clarity, I will be very happy about it, because it will change their life, or it could change their life. I would like to believe. But basically, what I do is either putting them in the right contact with the right people, or secondly, I help on a bi-weekly basis to tell them, hey, this is your plan, this is how you are meant to execute it, or how you could execute it. At the end of the day, the person is free, but if I was in your position, I would do this, and this. So basically that's what I do, and connect people that they need a quick connection, or that they need some guidance, even if it's not myself directly, because I might not be able to best. That's what I do. And on top of that, I recently launched my own channel as well, and I'm just trying to figure that one out yet, so let's see what happens.
Yeah, it seems you have a lot going on, Mo. And if is there anywhere people can find you? Is it LinkedIn the best place to reach out if they would like to chat or set
If
up a
they would like to chat, the
consultation? Or
best place is LinkedIn, definitely, but they can also follow me. But in the social media like YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok, basically what I speak is about football and inspirational stories, or like great stories of like, there's one coming out soon about a guy that jumped into fire to save his girlfriend, so things like that. Inspirational stories that can inspire somebody, because I do feel like there's a lot of negativity out there, and I don't want to express negativity. I just want to express perhaps joy, or like wisdom, or nerd stuff that I like about football and businesses, and like being smart about it and being intentional, and just inspire other people to do the same.
yeah, that's excellent, Mo. And I appreciate you taking the time to come on the podcast today. There's so much to take away from this and implement maybe into someone's career, or maybe even about the creator economy, or your story of overcoming a tremendous amount of stress and obstacles in life. So I just want to take the time to appreciate your journey, Mo. And yeah, I look forward to staying connected over the next while, and over the number of years on LinkedIn, and we go back and forth. And yeah, if there's anyone out there that's interested, feel free to reach out to Mo. I'm sure he will. Yeah, I'm sure he'll love to help. And yeah.
Thank you so much for the time, and thank you so much for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be here. But other than that, yes, if anyone wants to chat, just reach out on LinkedIn, send me a message. I will probably be able to reply. Not necessarily straight away, but I will reply, I promise.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't want to put too much on your plate as well. I just just thought I'd mention, if anyone's in that sort of, if in that industry, and in the football space, in the football industry, and or in sports, it's a wonderful way to get connected.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, by the way.
No worries, Mo. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and thanks again.
Thank you.
Take it easy. Bye bye.